Well, hello, White Sox fans, and welcome to another edition of the Future Sox podcast. My name is Ian Eskridge. Joining me, as always, is James Fox. How are you, James?
Good, man. What's going on?
We got a full slate of minor league baseball this weekend, and more of the same in the major leagues. So I guess I'll start with the fun stuff because not many people probably want to talk about the White Sox. So there were some good things in the minor leagues this week. Hagen Smith made a start. A bunch of guys hitting the baseball, some not hitting the baseball as well as we'd like to see it. Uh, your thoughts on the first weekend here?
Yes, I mean, obviously, like the headliners, probably Birmingham, even though I'm a little bit more interested in Canny, I guess, currently, like just because, like Schultz and Smith there, they both made starts. They were rained out today, right? It was rained out like pretty early. Um, so, you know, like not uh, stellar, like starts for either guy, but um Hagen Smith rebounded nicely. Schultz was fine. Like, and I kind of talk about this like with Noah Schultz, and I'll say it all year. I really just want him to get innings. I don't even care what happens to him. Like if he gives up 5 or 6 singles in a start and his stuff looks good and he's healthy and he racks up innings, like I'm good. So, we want more than 4 innings. I don't know if that was designed or if it was just like a pitch count thing. I think I'd like to see him go 5 pretty consistently every fifth day. That would be good. Um, as we've talked about, and then they're just going to kind of slow play it and see if they do any time in Charlotte before they likely finish the year in the big leagues. My goodness, would the front office and the big leagues like to fast forward to those times?
Yeah, we said this last year that the front office would probably just hit fast forward until
Yeah,
you know,
draft, trade deadline, end of season.
yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know. The White Sox had that game won today and snatched that thing right out of the jaws of victory.
Yeah,
And
but I feel like if you're gonna go to Clevenger that soon, and he was bad, obviously, but like Booster gets you out of it, then it's like, oh crap, what do we do like later when we need 3 outs? So you just like they don't have anybody to do that. Um, like I kind of thought if Clevenger was gonna be on the team, he's the closer, and if he sucks, right? But like, I just I don't know. I don't necessarily need that guy coming in like in leverage. Just have a closer. But I mean, look, I think it was gonna be Baroa, and he's out. So yeah, I mean, you just kind of walk that tightrope every day where you're like, which guy are we going to go to? Can we get 27 outs? And most of the time, that answer is going to be no, it seems.
yeah, I mean, obviously, we'll talk about the bullpen stuff later. Um, but yeah, that was ugly.
But
And
yeah, I mean, but just even so, like back to Birmingham, I guess. Like, what did you make of Schultz on Friday?
so this is the same thing, literally, that we see every year out of the Smokies, is that um, one of the things that the Cubs generally do pretty well in the minor leagues is get guys to execute game plans. And it seemed like they had the express uh, motivation. Like one thing that they were trying to accomplish was to get Schultz out of there early, and they did. And it was not a lot of good contact. It was a lot of weak contact, but they did bang out 8 singles. You know, and I think that was like basically what they were going out there to do, and they executed their game plan. They got him out of there fairly quickly. Um, and he didn't help his own cause a whole lot because his command wasn't as good as it should have been. So there is that. But we saw him dominate in Arizona, so I'm not worried about it in the least bit. And like you said, we want to see him get innings, but the problem is that if he's got these long drawn out innings with high pitch counts, he's not going to get innings. So we need him to minimize that as much as possible.
Yeah, and then with Hagen, I mean, obviously, like it was 4 walks, but then he K'd 10 because he just has a couple of equalizers that are just gonna be overwhelming for everybody. Like until he gets to the big leagues, basically, like it's just not gonna. Like, is even like I kind of thought Double A would be, and look, it's one start, right? Like And it's like, okay, double A will be like a little bit more of a challenge than high A. I'm not sure
Four hits in the
it
series. Here
matters
he
with that
sends this one
slider.
out to left field. That could be
Oh
trouble.
boy.
Fabian back, and it's
Oh
going to be a
boy.
home run hit on the yellow line, and then the railing, and it came
That's
back
what I
up.
wanted, not that.
Yeah,
So we'll
is
go
that
ahead
the
and
wrong
bring that
highlight?
up. Yeah, well, it was just on in the background. I
Ew.
thought I had it muted, but
Oh
obviously I
yeah,
did
so you
not.
have the Hagen highlights. Yeah, I mean, 4 innings pitched, 1 run, 4 walks, 10. I mean, and it looked like he was kind of laboring away, and then all of a sudden I look back and he's got 10 Ks through 4. So it's like, oh, did he strike out the last 6 he faced? I think
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the last 2 innings and, no hits, so, I mean, it was pretty crazy. Again, it was the first start of the year for him, and, we saw him pitch pretty well in Arizona as well, but we saw, like, the same things that we saw in Arizona. First guy you saw, he hit, then he struck a guy out, then he walked 2 guys in a row, and then he struck out 2 more. So, he struck out the side 3 times in the game.
yeah,
So, I mean, he looked good, but again, the elevated pitch counts from the long inning, that long first inning kinda screwed things up a little bit.
yeah. No, for sure.
I think
Jack,
the only
Jack,
guy
he was wild. He's wild sometimes.
what's that?
Jack asked if he was getting squeezed or if he was just wild. I'm like, nah, he was
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
just all over the place. There wasn't really, like, a whole lot of pitches where I said, "Oh, that should have been a strike." It was
yeah,
just, you
yeah.
know,
And then the
kinda
Birmingham, like the Birmingham offense, I think is just gonna kind of be what it is. It seems like it's just kind of like what we talked about. Well, I guess not with some of the additions, right? Like putting Colas there, I think just as like a power source, as like kind of this is a guy that we've kind of given up on, but he might be able to hit bombs in double A to like help the team win. Like, okay. And then I really like that Omar Narvaez is there. Like, I know that you're a big Michael Turner guy, and I'm cool with Michael Turner starting too. But I think having those pitchers there with like a guy that's caught as many big league games as Omar Narvaez has can't be a negative.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, I saw somebody, on Twitter respond saying, "What is Omar Narvaez and Oscar Colas doing in Double A?" Well, one thing that we did hear was that Colas was supposed to get some ABs at first base, but I mean, right now he's not going to do that because they want to keep Turner's bat in the lineup, so they put him at first, and then they put Colas in the outfield. So I don't really know what to make of the whole thing because you've got too many outfielders in Charlotte. And I mean, you can say what you want about the actual players that are on the roster in Charlotte, but they do physically have a lot of outfielders. So it makes sense to put him in double A for that reason. And we've had guys that are journeymen playing in double A before. I mean, we had Nick Podkul. He's on the roster for the Barons. I mean, that we've had those guys before. So it's not like it's any new thing here, but I think that they just want to continue to get him at bats and maybe, just eat up at bats, I guess, is more or
Yeah.
less the thing here because I don't see him getting much of a chance in
Well,
Chicago.
and some guys that have gone there and like kind of struggled, like obviously Jacob Burke is there. Varys is there and has been fine. But Terrell Tatum is in Arizona. I don't know if that's because of an injury or because they're doing some weird stuff in Arizona where they want vets there too. I'm not really sure, but he's on the Arizona Complex League roster and they don't start for like a month.
Yeah, I saw a couple of guys move to the dev list in Winston Salem as well. So, they're doing some roster shuffling still, and we'll see. I mean, again, it's the first weekend of the season, so there's not really, I don't see any point in getting like too worked up about things. Um, see some people that seeing the roster assignment, seeing Saki in Kannapolis
Yeah.
and Cole McConnell in Winston Salem, and wondering, well, Saki was pretty decent in Winston Salem last year, so why are you bumping him down? I don't think that it really matters.
Yeah, and who's getting the DH at bats in Winston? Because I saw something written, and I don't remember where, but apparently Saki can't play the outfield for some reason right now yet. He's DH only, so they sent him to Canny. Now, why can't he be DH only in Winston? I don't really know, but that was like the reason that I saw.
I would think that they're probably moving that around between Galaney, I think, is gonna get a lot of the DH at bats there, and, he went 2 for 5 today with 2 doubles. Yesterday, he hit a grand slam. So, you know, Galaney's bat has looked really, really good, in the first weekend anyway, and the second and third game anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, he can hit.
So,
He's always been able to hit. Like we talked to him last year. He just has the same issue that everybody else with his profile has, right? Like ultimately, if it's first base DH, like you have to rake. So we'll see if he can.
yeah, in game 2, it was Wes Kath got the DH at bats, and that did not go so well. And in game 1, it was Alec Makarevich. So,
Yeah, so they're rotating around some corner guys, recent college corners.
yeah.
Because then even
So,
somebody sitting, well, I guess like the main guys can play in Kannapolis, but today McLean sat today and Archer played, which is fine. Like guys need days off or whatever. But so you have your primary outfield with Saki at DH. But I think the way Braden Montgomery started, I don't know how long he's going to be in Kannapolis.
yeah, that is a good question. I mean, like he's still got at bats where he's kind of flailing out there, but today and yesterday we saw a home run from him, and then saw a 3-run double
Yeah,
that he
they
hit.
were both from the right side too, weren't they?
You know what? To be
The
honest, I didn't
homer,
even
the
look.
homer, the homer was from the right side.
The
Today's
homer was.
Today I saw where it was hit, so I assumed it was right-handed, but I don't really know. But that would be interesting. I mean, he's struggled right-handed in the past. He's power, but like his batting average in tons of Ks from the right side typically.
Yeah, I can look that up here in a minute. Speaking of, let's go ahead and I'll just go ahead and bring that one up right now. Here is the Braden Montgomery home run.
Mason Molina winds and fires.
Yeah,
Montgomery lifts this one high and deep. In the
Murdered
left,
baseball.
look out, Laurie, and it's out of here.
First hit in the minor leagues is a home run. Not bad.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like Bonnemer doesn't seem overmatched. Mogollon doesn't seem overmatched. I mean, they look the part, right? Like they have some struggles, but I wasn't like, oh man, they need to be back in Arizona.
No, not yet. It's gonna be one of those things. It's again. You're looking at the first weekend of the season, and I kind of feel like it's gonna take some guys some time to kind of get into the swing of things down there in North Carolina, and we'll see what happens. So, yeah. So moving along here, I think the only guy that we saw pitch more than 4 innings over the weekend was Mason Moore.
Yeah,
That's the
in
only guy
Canton.
I can
Yeah.
remember seeing that pitched over 5 innings.
And again, he's like a 4-year college guy pitching in the Kannapolis rotation with some young guys. I mean, obviously the interesting guy is Christian Opper, pitched in the showdown game. So my guess is we'll see him again early next week. Luis Reyes was interesting for a few innings. I was kind of surprised, like, I guess not necessarily surprised that he was starting, but I think they were just like using him in shorter stints in Arizona to like, I don't know, get him used to whatever. So I'm pleasantly surprised that he's pitching out of the rotation.
Yeah, no, me too. Yeah, that was and he looked good. He was not super consistent right in the middle, towards the latter part of his outing, but the first 3 innings were really good. So, let me bring where's the one I was looking at?
Yeah, James Reyes is only 19. He was their top signing in their 2023 international class is like $700K, which is a really significant bonus for a pitcher. It's just not, guys just don't get paid that much.
Your thoughts here on this?
Oh,
And
Uncle Ted had a lot of thoughts I saw over on the left side. So only letting them pitch 4 innings is dumb. If you're only going to let them see 1 through 5, 2 turns, why not pitch out of the boat? Because like they have to get used to, like I'm more concerned about them starting every 5th day than how many innings they pitch per outing, But I mean, yeah, obviously, like, look, if you think in 2027 they're going to be throwing 160 plus innings in the big leagues for you, like, yes, eventually they need to throw like 100 plus, like in the minors.
Yeah, I think also because again, this is early in the season that we're going to see them limited and kind of build up from 75 pitches roughly, because that's more or less where everybody's getting pulled, is right around 75 pitches. I kind of feel like
Even in the big leagues.
even in the big leagues is that you're going to see these guys kind of rolled out and they're going to start getting to 100 pitches as the season rolls on here. And I don't think that they want anybody, when it's 62 degrees outside, even, that they want these guys pitching 100 pitches. And you can say what you want about the thought process behind this whole thing. I'm not entirely convinced that it's the right way to go about things, and the injuries kind of point in that direction. But then again, with the pitches that they're throwing these days, who knows if that's the real reason for those injuries also.
Yeah, speaking of that, there was an interesting kick change discussion this morning on 670 with Matt Spiegel, had Eno Saris on, and he kind of explained the kick change for those who don't know and like kind of where it originated. Lots of Brian Bannister talk there.
I've seen some people that have wondered if the massive uptick in TJs for the White Sox is due to that kick change, and I really don't think so. I think it's
No,
just
because none of those guys are throwing it.
yeah.
Now
Well,
there's a lot of change ups. I will say that. Like if you think it's a change up problem, like I might listen. Um, and it's just a bunch of seam shifting stuff. I mean, you change your finger placements on all these guys and there's a bunch hurt. I mean, I lean more towards probably a coincidence, but like 6 or 7's quite a bit, obviously.
yeah, Mason. Actually, since we were on last, we found out about Mason getting TJ, didn't we? Wasn't that like on Monday
Yeah, and then we've had
or
Gus
Tuesday?
Varland, go down without, hearing much on that.
Yeah, we heard that Gus Varland left the game earlier in the week with a forearm, and they put him on the 7-day IL. We'll see where that ends up.
Yeah, forearm, not great. So,
Never good. And Sergio said that it was
and they like,
not good.
do you think they send an actual prospect there if it was minor? Because they sent Adler there. Like, that's the type of thing where it's kind of like, if it's minor, you send like an org guy for like a week, right? Like, I was like kind of surprised by that. Like, Adler was on the Birmingham roster as probably a high leverage relief option, right? Then they have injuries in Charlotte. Adler's added to Charlotte. Like, if you wanted him in Charlotte, you could have started him a week ago in Charlotte. I just thought it was weird.
Well, I mean, I guess the one thing that you can say is that they do already have quite a few options in Birmingham. They've got Luna, they've got Paulette. So, I mean, they do have some options in Birmingham for high leverage guys. Um, and Caleb Freeman's there as well. I mean, they do have some arms there. The bullpen there is pretty solid for AA. Now, whether or not that'll end up translating to those being guys that are good in AAA and the majors, that I can't say. But for AA, that's a real solid bullpen.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, you might have, like if Adler's like getting high leverage relief innings at Charlotte while Paulette's getting them at Birmingham, and you got some of these other guys too. Like, I'm good with that. I mean, I tweeted out today about Addison Coffee. Like, I don't really know what they're doing. Like, this guy is like, even if he comes up and he's decent or whatever, like it's a organizational win for you, right? Like, he was signed for $50,000 in the third round in 2020. He's a guy who was a hitter in Mike Shirley's facility in Indiana, like, for years, and then they basically told him, no, you're a pitcher, you're never going to hit again. Like, he was at community college in Illinois for $50K, and he's going to pitch in the big leagues. Like, just bring him up and let him pitch in the big leagues. Like, I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's a thing for the major league conversation that I wanted to have about the bullpen stuff. And
Yeah, we can get there. We can wait. But it's just, because it's not like it's some guy that you just like like they drafted him. They could pump the whole. We took this guy and paid him 50. Like it's an org win.
Yeah, I don't really understand why Coffee wasn't given the opportunity right off the bat, but
I'm
anyway,
guessing it's the reasons. You add him to the 40, he's got to stay on it. Is my guess, but it's fine.
yeah. So, and this is going to be something that that we talk about as things go on here. Do we remember when the service time kicks over
My
from the?
my guess is Tuesday because Zach Veen just got called up. So
Yeah, actually, yeah, my son brought that up as well,
I mean,
and he's got purple hair.
I can't see them giving up the year of service. So my guess is Tuesday. I don't have the exact date though.
Okay, so uh, keep that in mind for our later discussion here.
Unless he's signed maybe they sign him to like an 8-year deal in 2 weeks or something.
Yeah,
But I don't know.
speaking of Christian Campbell getting
Yeah.
extended already.
Well, so I listened to the Carlos Collazo and Badler podcast, and they were kind of, Badler right away was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe he took that deal." And then Carlos is like, "Well, look, man, like you're a 4th-round college guy. He got paid like $800K maybe. You give some of that to your advisor. Like, who knows what else you like." I don't know how you like. He's like, "I don't know how you turned down 60 million," and he didn't. He took it, obviously, right? So because it's not a sure thing that and I think Ben is kind of he thinks Christian Campbell's going to win Rookie of the Year and be an All-Star, right? And that's great. Like you and I maybe both think that too, but like if he busts, he's going to have $60 million. So like I'm never going to begrudge any of these guys for taking one of those deals.
Absolutely not. I mean, like I mean, I'm assuming that you've had these conversations as well before I was here, but it only makes sense for the team and for the player to do that if the player is useful. Now, what the White Sox have run into is that the guys that they did extend ended up not being useful, so it ended up
Right.
being a real big
Yeah, like
problem.
just
But
because the White Sox signed the wrong players doesn't mean that pre-market extensions is a bad idea. I mean, even for it's not even necessarily cost control, right? It's cost certainty. You know how much it's going to cost and it helps you budget. Is it Blue Moon Mango? Is it good?
it sure is. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah, mango wheat. It's tasty stuff.
I bet. Yeah, I love Blue Moons. So, yeah, that's good. No, but do you think it should have been closer, and you probably don't have this off the top of your head. Like should it have been closer to the one, and now, of course, I don't remember. The guy in Milwaukee, the center fielder in Milwaukee.
Churio?
Yeah, so should it have been closer to that? I think that's like 90-ish million or closer to 100 that he took last year, just for the level of prospect this is. Like, I think Robinson's probably second base, right? So I don't know how much that matters, but he's a big time prospect. Like, so I think that was the quibble that Badler had, where he was kind of just like, "Oh, if this was like 90 guaranteed, I totally understand, but for 60, he sold himself short," type of thing. And then Collazo was like, "You can't turn down $60 million with a straight face." So
No. Yeah, so my thinking on this, and like we had this conversation at the beginning of the year, is I said that I was skeptical that Christian Campbell was going to be like as good as everybody immediately jumped to him being, just because we only saw it last year and it was after a swing tweak. And like when a guy makes a swing tweak and automatically gets bumped up to like top 5 on the top 100 list, like I kind of want to pull back here and go, wait a second here. Let's look at the broader picture and see, make sure that this is real for longer than just one season
yeah.
before, you want to hand out all that money. But he's looked really good and I picked him up in fantasy. So,
And they did bring up a good point about like some of these smaller agencies too, where like it's brought up in the comments with Albies and Acuna, like that they had very inexperienced agents who knew that those guys were 2 off seasons away from going to a Boris or a CAA. So those types of agents are more likely to sign these types of contracts so they can get their cut of the deal before, you get a phone call saying your best client is now with Scott Boris. So, but, I think both sides, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I just want to answer this here for Max because he's asked a couple of times. He's asking where Anthony Hoopy Tuionatoa is going to be, and he'll be in. I'm almost positive they'll be in Birmingham, but as of right now, he's on the inactive list, and it doesn't say why he's on that inactive list. And I think that it even said that he was on the unexplained inactive list. So
Maybe
I
nobody
don't
knows where
really
he
know.
is. Maybe he's with
Yeah.
Bartolo Colon somewhere.
True. Maybe he flew through the Bermuda Triangle and just disappeared.
Jacob Thome is watching. He has no idea what I'm talking about with that joke. He's like, Bartolo Colon disappeared. What? Who's Bartolo Colon? Yeah.
Well, he saw the home run. Everybody's seen the Bartolo home run.
Yeah. Well, do you remember that, what I'm talking about? So I think it was like his second stint with the White Sox where he left. And then somebody said that he was mourning the death of Michael Jackson. Like this whole thing was, and Ozzy said, I don't know where he is. He disappeared. So those days were crazy.
So bizarre. Just a guy just goes missing and doesn't tell anybody where he is, and then all of a sudden there he is.
Yeah, he just shows up one day.
Yep. Jose Ramirez. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he took a deal. So basically, his thing was Cleveland was like, "We love you. We want you to be here forever, but we're going to trade you because, like, whatever." And then he took a deal basically and stayed.
Yeah, hit 3 home runs yesterday.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, it turns out. Let's see, 7 years, 141 million for J-Ram is greatest contract of all time.
Well, I mean, even like if you go back now in hindsight and look at the one that Bobby Witt signed, it's like, oof.
Yeah. Oh, Bryce Harper, you know?
Well, Bryce Harper was like the steal of the century. I mean, that deal was not like 13 and 325 is nothing.
Yeah. And I mean, like, regardless of his injuries and the surgery that, the TJ and all that stuff, and he still put up, great numbers. That was a great signing for them.
Did you see the rumor about Vlad? That sounds like that's going to happen for like 500 million plus.
Oof.
So it's going around kind of like Dominican baseball Twitter, so it's hit or miss sometimes. But Nightingale referenced it in his column today, basically saying that it was going to get done and it would be like 500 plus. So my guess is that's 12 years at 500 and something. So, I mean, if you're Kyle Tucker, you're not taking a penny less than that. So there's just like a bunch of guys that are going to start getting like this amount, kind of, it seems.
Did you see that Cubs game today at all?
I saw that Gavin Sheets is a hero, but other than that, not really.
Yeah, well, they had like an hour-long first inning, and then, shocker, the thing that everybody's been complaining about, Cubs fans, about the bullpen, came back and bit them.
Yeah, they just don't have enough guys that miss bats in their bullpen. Their lineup's good, though.
It's looking pretty good with Tucker in there. That's for sure.
Yeah, like it seems like if Dansby Swanson's going to be good, they're going to be pretty good. But yeah, no, the bullpen is a kind of a problem.
Oh, not that one. This one. No, Joe, he's not injured. He's in Birmingham, and he will pitch Wednesday.
So Grant Taylor's supposed
maybe?
to pitch Wednesday, and Tyler Schweitzer. No, he's Wednesday because the next guy was going to be Tuesday. It was going to be Gowans today, and then Wickelman Tuesday, and then Taylor Wednesday, and Tyler Schweitzer is going to be his piggyback. Which, look, if he's going 3 or 4, Schweitzer could get 5 or 6 each time out. And my guess is they do that for a little bit, honestly. And then Schweitzer's in Charlotte is my guess. And then maybe you don't have a piggyback. Maybe you just use the bullpen behind him, or you have Tommy Vale do it, or somebody, whoever. Like, take somebody else out of your system and have them do it if they're going to do it that way. But yeah, I'm fascinated just to see the usage on Grant Taylor. Like, if you told me right now how many innings Grant Taylor throws this year, I can tell you where he ranks on top prospect lists.
Yeah. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring up some of these home runs from over the weekend here, just for fun, because I've got them, and it's like if I take all this video, I might as well bring it up so people can see it. So earlier today,
A swing and a smash. Deep right center. Cloesy and Espinoza on the move, and that ball is gone. A home run.
Almost hit that thing like 420 feet to dead center. That's a big dude.
Alec Makarevich with a 2-run bomb puts the Dash up 6-2 in the top of the third.
They went on a tear today, and they hit. I think they hit like 3 or 4 home runs today. That was a lot of fun to watch.
Well, so they just have like a lot of like veteran type college bats in Winston. And I think I kind of like scoffed at the lineup a little bit because it's not like prospect heavy, but they might be able to do some damage. And then the pitching is decent. Like you have Aldrin Bautista there, and you have some college starters there, like Keener. I'll tell you what, Tanner McDougal like still has the same issues, but his stuff is disgusting. Like that'll be, if he finishes the year as a reliever, like in Charlotte, I'm not going to be surprised at all. Like that's a fast track situation whenever they decide that he's not starting anymore. And I hope that's not like offensive to anybody, but like he's going to pitch in the big leagues, and it's probably going to be out of the bullpen.
Yeah, I don't think that there's like obviously I'm sure that he would rather start, and I think as an organization, what we always say is that he starts until he shows that he can't start, and that goes for everybody. So I think they're just going to try and keep on trotting him out there every 5 days as a starter, and if he doesn't figure out how to hack it, he ends up going to the bullpen and they fast track him.
Well, yeah, and I think Bannister even talked about that, right? Because Giannis, I think, was Giannis or I think it was Bannister. So, like, if you're Paul Giannis as the farm director, who's talking to your managers, you're like, okay, we're going to start this guy as long as possible, right? But when you're Brian Bannister and you're talking to the media and you're asking for projections, you're like, this guy's disgusting. Like, he's going to be in the bullpen at some point. So, it's two different jobs, obviously, like kind of fighting against each other.
So Jack brings up Sam Antonacci.
Yes. Pretty good.
So
my one issue with Sam Antonacci is just he's got to be perfect because his profile is like a utility plus profile, but he can't play shortstop. So that makes it a little bit different, right? Like if you're second, third only, you really have to hit and get on base a ton. And he might.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be a real annoying guy on the bases, and let's hope that ends up being the case. Is that he's just one of those guys who just knows how to get on base and is always there creating problems, because we can certainly use those. All right, so another guy in our top 30 that hit a home run this weekend is, he came from the Dodgers system, and he had a bunch of power with the Dodgers A-ball club. And when he got brought over to Kannapolis, that power kind of didn't show up as much, but
Terribly hot out there. 3-2 is lifted high and deep out to left. This one may go. It is gone. A home run. Gerald Perez. That is his first on the season. It is 14-6. Winston.
So he crushed that thing.
Yeah.
So it would
But
be
it
really
didn't
nice.
look like he got it all either.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things, like between him and Albertus, they were saying that Albertus was the bigger prospect, but when I watched video of both of them, the one that stuck out a lot more to me was Gerald Perez.
Yeah.
He just his bat can be eye popping at times, and I saw him murder a couple early last year, like 450 feet. So
Yeah, Albertus is still in Arizona apparently, like ramping up, getting ready, but they claim that he's going to be. My guess is he plays third base in Kannapolis like as soon as he's ready, basically. I mean, I think they kind of talked about he might play some second or some short too, but I mean, he's kind of sold as a third baseman last year, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, apparently he can really hit too. It's all been in rookie ball though. So, yeah, I can see that. So we had a question from Max just about Jace Laviolette possibly being available at 10. I mean, he's starting to heat up now. So we'll see, but I don't think it's totally out of the question. I definitely don't think Laviolette is like some lock to be top 3 like we kind of thought going into the season. I think there's like a whole group of college bats who could fall down closer to the Sox, and I think there's some high school guys who are the best players in this class. I mean, I think a high school shortstop could go 1 overall, and I think you're going to have a high school right-handed pitcher in consideration for 1 overall for the first time too. Like
That's
Seth Hernandez is absolutely ridiculous. And like in a just okay draft class, like if the reason you're not going to take the best guy is like he's a high school righty, it's kind of crazy, but we'll see. Jackson
yeah,
Jobe went
and
3rd. He looks pretty good. I know that's, you're starting to take exceptions instead of rules, right? But I mean, Seth Hernandez is really, really good.
yeah. I mean, obviously, me and you are going to make our way out to Lincoln Way out there and go see Special Agent Jack Bauer pitch. I mean, I know that he throws hard. I want to see his secondary stuff to see if the secondary stuff is as
Yeah.
good as it looked in video.
Well, so apparently it sounds like remember Maddox Bruns? So Maddox Bruns was like a lefty prep guy who fell into like the 2nd or 3rd round. The Dodgers took him. He throws like 102, but he just like doesn't throw any strikes.
Is that 2
So
years ago? Or was
yeah,
that last year?
so this is where Jack Bauer apparently coming into the season, it was like, oh yeah, he's got premium lefty stuff, but he just has no command. So that was always the knock on him. So now he's pitching well. I mean, obviously, like if you're throwing like that in the Chicago suburbs, like nobody's going to hit him, obviously. So that was like some of that video was like a tournament, I think in Tennessee, I believe, like over like spring break. But yeah, I mean, I don't know that he'll necessarily go in the first round, but he's definitely going to get paid and get first round money for sure. And the 2 best high school lefties in the class might both be from Illinois. So, because Appenzeller is probably going to go high too. Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see him. We're going to go see him, in a couple of weeks.
Chris Honell.
Did you see what number he's wearing for Lincoln Way, by the way?
No.
Take a guess.
I thought it was just I looked at his video and it was an 11.
Oh, he's wearing 24.
Is he wearing 24 now? Because when
Jack
I
Bauer
saw
wears-
him, it was
Jack
11.
Yeah.
He should be wearing 24. Who do you pitch for? You know?
Yes, exactly. That's what. Again, more stuff that young people probably aren't understanding here. So
Yeah, no.
I don't think Bruns went in the first. I really don't. I think he like should have. I mean, you guys have. I don't like look it up on Google. It'll take 5 seconds, like to find out where Maddox Bruns went. I just, somebody in the comments can. And then yeah, Jack mentioned Billy Carlson.
Yeah, first round 29.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys are right. So Billy Carlson, he could go first overall. So he's on the same team as Seth Hernandez. That's the Corona, California team. Billy Carlson is awesome too. He's a definite shortstop. I mean, he's skinny, which is the only knock. But when you have college guys that like aren't tearing the cover off the ball, it kind of opens the door for some of these guys.
So did you happen to see Texas A&M Tennessee yesterday?
Yeah, some of it, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Texas A&M is starting to wake up. But a question that I kind of had is, with their head coach and
Texas A&M.
Yeah,
it's Michael Early, right? Yes.
Yeah. After seeing that whole cluster go off the other day about the curfew and all that stuff, and I'm just trying to figure out if you think that like maybe it's kind of like one of those Pedro Tony La Russa things where, the culture in the clubhouse isn't exactly the greatest, and that's what's causing all their offensive woes, because yesterday they came out and they were just crushing the ball.
Well, do you remember so their coach left and went to Texas, correct? And then like a lot of guys followed him, and the whole rumor was going to be like Laviolette was in the portal and these guys were all going to leave. And then they hired Michael Early, who was their hitting coach, who, by the way, was a former Mike Shirley pupil, right? So after the draft calls last year, Mike Shirley came on talking about Jackson Appel, basically saying that, he's really tight with Michael Early and he talked to him. So obviously, like, Early was the hitting coach for Braden Montgomery. and also now the coach for Jace Laviolette. So that's some of it too, where, I think if Jace Laviolette's falling down the board potentially, like the White Sox might have money for him, that sort of thing, just because I think there's definitely like a relationship there. But yeah, no, these things are weird. Like there was almost a mass exodus out of Texas A&M, and then a lot of guys stayed because of the hire they made. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all if there's crazy shenanigans going on.
Yeah, I would think that would open a door for Laviolette for sure, having the connections there. Kevin says he's not a fan of the speculation of Kason Cunningham pick at 10.
Yeah, it's a Texas prep shortstop. I mean, I don't know a ton other than he's ranked really highly. I haven't like dug into, a lot of these guys in the top. And we're gonna, with them picking 10, we'll write 15 to 20 profiles probably. But it's not that time yet.
Yeah. All right. So, do you want to move on to the major league issues here?
Kind of, but before we do that, like one more thing. Chase Mydroth, like, were you gonna include him in some of this or?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So we can get to him then in a bit, because if you weren't, I was gonna do it now, but we can wait.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes with the overall arching theme of what we're watching on the major league side of things. And, Jacob Amaya's had a bullseye on his forehead basically since he was picked back up again. And especially now seeing Chase Mydroth, who last year had a 437 on base percentage in AAA and has shown that he needs absolutely no time in AAA.
Yeah, I think he's third in OPS in the International League right now.
That would make sense.
Like it's just it's pointless for him to, like. I know that the White Sox they talked to him about some spring training at bats, and they just like wanted him to be more aggressive in the zone, which, okay, fine, but like so learn how to do that in the big leagues then, because like this does what he's doing right now is making a mockery of the International League as he trots around the bases right now, knowing that he should not be there right now.
Yeah, for those of you who did not see our tweet, FutureSox on Twitter/X. If you have an account there, Chase Mydroth had his third home run of the season today, and I think he's got like a somewhere close to an 1100 OPS, and he's hitting like 350, something like that, 370. And you just watch his defense as well. There are a couple of tweets that I put out there, just some really nice plays he made at shortstop today. And
Yeah, and I think maybe Sean Anderson brought up Brian Dozier. Like I don't think he'll have that kind of power, but swings like that, it kind of looks like maybe. But like I think Brian Dozier had a 30 home run season, so that's like not going to happen. But more on base ability, for sure. And look, I do get the argument, like he's not going to walk like he does in the minors because he doesn't, or he hadn't made a ton of impact on the baseball, right? So pitchers are just not going to be afraid of him, so they won't walk him. But I mean, when you're living through what we're living through in the big leagues right now, like I don't really see the point of not playing him.
yeah, and like watching sacrifice bunts.
Yeah, not good.
You tweeted about this.
Playing for one is just I don't understand. Like I'm willing to give Will Venable the benefit of the doubt because he's going to be here a while, but like I it doesn't, especially with the bullpen you have, like playing for one run just doesn't make any sense.
So Max brings up Elijah, mentioning that they have not brought up Mydroth because they want him and Colson to come up together. I got news for you, Max.
A while. Like,
if they're waiting for Colson to come up, they're going to be waiting quite a while to bring Mydroth up because that young man is making me very angry right now. I don't know how much I want to really go into it, but man, watching his at bats this week have just made me see red. It is brutal.
So I know you have to add Mydroth to the 40 man, but I mean, you created a spot today with Jankowski. Like, are they afraid of playing him at shortstop? Like, are they just like don't want to play him there? Because they very clearly don't want to play Brooks at shortstop every day. And Sosa, look, I mean, I think we both thought deserved a chance, but just isn't doing the job necessarily, and he's out of options too. I mean, Nick Maton doesn't matter. So yeah, I mean, there's just look, my draft will be up at some point. We'll see the catchers at some point. Like it's gonna be some time, right? They might be 5-25 before that happens. But like my draft's an easy move to make because you could just play him at shortstop every day and get rid of Jacob Maya, and it would, it just, and it's not like you're rushing him. You're not waiting to steal a 7th year. He's not that kind of guy. Like it just doesn't matter. So let's go. Let's see it because he's doing the exact same thing you thought he was going to do when you sent him down. It's like, well, go down and conquer AAA again. Like it doesn't make any sense.
Makes zero sense. I mean, granted, he did have a very weak spring training, and I'll be the first person to admit that. But I'm pretty sure that what they were thinking was he's not on the 40 man. He had a weak spring, so let's send him to Charlotte. Let's see if he can right the ship right away, and if he does, then we're good, and we'll just get rid of Amaya or somebody, and we'll bring up Mydroth. That's my thinking here, and I think that we should be seeing that soon because realistically, there is absolutely no reason for him to do what he's doing in Charlotte right now there instead of at least trying to make his way in Chicago. So
Yeah, his small sample obviously still, but his weighted runs created plus in Charlotte is 160. So he has improved on the 137 from last year.
yeah, I mean for the entire week, yeah, basically for this entire season so far, and we're only talking 6 plus 3, 9 games for my drought here. But on the other side of things, people were calling for Teal to be called up after the first 3-game series, and then this week in the 6-game series, he has 3 hits total.
Yeah,
and he looked a lot of bad swings. I mean, granted, he did get BABIP'd quite a bit, so there is that. But
yeah, and you don't necessarily have a spot, right? Like I think there's glaring holes for these infielders. I don't think Corey Lee and Tice is a terrible catcher duo right now.
it's not.
Like
It's
that's
not.
okay. That's doing okay.
But that brings me to this thing here, where we're talking about Edgar Caro, who's another guy who is
1,000 OPS, by the way.
he's doing stuff as well, and he's not doing it just by swinging for the fences and trying to hit home runs. Like he's putting together really good at bats and hitting singles. And today he did hit his first home run opposite field. Granted, that's a Charlotte home run.
Oh yeah, that place is great, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and rewind that one back. Left-handed opposite field to left field. Put the ball into the Piedmont Natural Gas tent over there.
Doesn't he look like Moncada?
It kind of does, yeah. But I mean, obviously that boy a little bit more thick.
Yeah, the lefty swing looks like Moncada. Get him waving to the girls down the first baseline. I like that. That's good.
Hey, easy now. Waving to them Indiana girls.
Yeah.
So this brings us to the bullpen talk here.
Yikes.
Obviously today the White Sox get walked off, and it was just a ludicrous display of awfulness. So how do the White Sox fix their bullpen? And I mean, we talked about this beforehand. You said you wanted to, and I saw you put this on Twitter. You semi got killed about it. But you wanted to sign a couple of leverage relievers in the offseason.
Yeah.
So
P knows thinks I'm lying because he knows that. So he gives me a hard time because I'm the tanker guy. Like I want them to lose every game. Here's the guys. They're gonna lose enough games. Like it's like they don't need to lose 130 because your bullpen's atrocious. So yeah, like my thought was if you had some money to spend, they didn't clearly, right? But like, look, David Robertson is not like he's never going to come back because he didn't like his time here, right? But a guy like that, right? Like a 1 year, 2 1-year deals for mercenaries, right? Like Kenley Jansen and somebody else, right? So you could close out these games, you could win some of them early in the season, right? And then you trade them for real prospects instead of signing like the John Brebbias of the world. That was what I wanted to do. Now, if they very clearly did not have that type of money to spend, so like this is what we're doing. Like we're doing the Mike Clevenger experience. I will say like the best way to handle this is like maybe let your starters go deeper. I mean, they pulled Martin Perez after 78 pitches today. Now maybe that was the end of the road and they knew that trouble was coming, right? But I mean, like to me, it seems like letting Martin Perez get 5 more outs is like a better idea than like what they ultimately did. I mean, I think they were going to go to Clev, and if he got out of it, they were going to go to him for another inning too, and he sucked. And then you had to burn Booser, and then Ellard kind of, or not Ellard, who's the righty, got the job done, the sinker ball, the side armor.
Penn Murphy?
Yeah,
No,
Murphy. So
yeah.
Murphy came in and kind of got the job done. But then you extend Frazier Ellard into the 9th, and you just run out of guys. Like you don't have enough guys, and you're gonna lose these games basically because of this. So I think if Mike Clevenger is here, just have him be the closer. I understand. Like I'm not gonna get on Will Venable for thinking, okay, Clevenger is our best guy. That's the leverage spot of the game where like we're going to go to him here, right? But then when it doesn't work, then you don't really have any options. So like I'm good blaming it on Mike Clevenger. Like I'm fine with that, but that's a game that you'd like to have, even though like they don't really matter like all that much. Like I wasn't angry. I just kind of shrugged. Like I was like, okay, well this is not great, right? So, but look, they're going to have a bunch of these close games because they have no offense. So this is like going to be a thing.
Yeah, it was just a rough look altogether, and if a guy can't throw strikes, like it's a problem. Leisure needs to throw strikes, and you just can't come in and just start walking guys and hitting guys. And this is how he managed to make his way to Charlotte last year before his injury stuff, is that he goes out there and just walks and all sorts of problems. So
Yeah, it's another team. I mean, look, they don't have the money to pay for velocity, so you go with all these like funky profiles, right? But then if you walk guys, you get stuck in pretty bad spots. Like I actually think Cam Booser is pretty decent, but like you had to use him to get Riley Green because he's the only guy because what you've seen from Brandon Eisert so far is that he can't even get lefties out, right? So maybe this changes a little bit. Like my guess is Tyler Gilbert is activated for Cleveland and Eisert goes down or leaves forever or whatever. Now he's more of like a long type guy, I think. But maybe it lets you use Frazier Ellard differently and you have like 2 lefties to deploy. Like I don't know, man. Like it's not great, which is why, if you have a guy like Addison Coffey in Charlotte, you know,
and Trey
just
McGough
let's
as
see it.
well.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
you just have options. I mean, I'm not opposed to sooner than later seeing Adler and Paulette because it's relief bullets. Like I'm not, like I don't want Noah Schultz thrown out of the bullpen or anything, but like I'm good with Adler and Paulette if that's what it takes.
yeah, I don't know. I think that just the answer here is that this team's not going to be any good. We knew it wasn't going to be any good. We have to see which relievers are going to stick. We're going to have to see who's going to be consistently bad, who's going to be inconsistently good, and who's going to be consistently good. And it's just going to be one of those things where it's a feel out process. I don't think that there's any one answer that's really going to, make or break this team because we know that they're not going to win any games anyway. So
How long until Jairo Iriarte or Nick Nastrini are the relief options that you're going to? I mean, I don't know.
Ted, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
The
Come
Gavin
on,
She-
man.
You know, Gavin Sheets is like 2 for his last 8. By the way,
But you know,
big hits.
big hits,
How
right?
could they let him go?
How could they
Where
let Gavin
where
Sheets
where
walk?
would he be? Where would he be playing right now?
Yeah.
Would you rather have Gavin Sheets or Andrew Vaughn? No, don't answer. It's fine. Don't answer.
You know what my
Don't
answer would be.
don't do it. Yeah. Like,
But I mean, to be fair, if you had asked me before this season which one would I rather have, I would have said Vaughn.
yeah. How about Vaughn for $6 million or Gavin Sheets for the minimum?
I would have taken Gavin Sheets for the minimum, 100%,
Yeah. Like,
because I could bring Elko up, and
yeah,
between
he's
those two
easy to move
guys,
on. He's easy to move on from too. Yeah.
yeah, I would feel like you could probably platoon those guys, or use mix and match depending on
Oh,
who's pitching, and
Adrian
be okay.
White is a guy that we've added to our site. He wrote our
Oof.
Kannapolis preview. Really good job. But come on, man. You're going to bomb that. Like, I don't want to answer that question. Under. Like, under. They're not winning 10 games by May 1st. How?
I mean, it's only April 6th, You
Like,
you rattle off 3 games, here, 2 games
we
here.
just talked about this bullpen, and you're like, oh, yeah, they could do it. Like, it's like...
Ah, come on, man. You
Well,
gotta
look,
have a little
I
bit of
mean,
faith here.
Cleveland, like, they might come home 2-10, and then they get Boston.
Yeah,
Like, if you don't win a game in Cleveland, you're gonna come home 2-10, and then your gift is facing Garrett Crochet on Saturday at home. Good luck.
well, I don't know. Yeah, I don't there like I said, there's not really
Yeah.
I can't really say that there's a good solution here. No matter how you look at it. I mean, there's just
it does seem like the games that they win will be similar. Like, it'll be games where they hit like 3 homers in a game. And then your starter's also pretty good and goes like 7, and then you can kind of get out of it, right? But these games where it's gonna be like 3-1 and you're like holding on to your butt, like in 6, 7, 8, not like, no, they're not gonna win those games.
Oh, Doug's coming in with a bold prediction here. Says
Oh,
Sox are gonna sweep Cleveland.
I don't know. I mean, like, could Shane Smith like come out and be like super ferocious for a while and shut down some bats? Like, yeah, sure, that could happen. And then what? Then it's Burke and Cannon again. Okay, I mean, but like, I'm not really that worried about the starting pitching. I don't think they can score consistently.
That's been my concern for the last 3, since 2020, really.
Yeah. I mean, they haven't had
2021
enough.
actually,
They haven't
but
had enough offense since 2006. So, it's just kind of. I've seen a lot of mentions of Rojas. I have heard that he, apparently his foot hurts like when he runs with cleats on, which isn't good. So I don't know how soon we're gonna see Rojas. So
get him a pair of
yeah, like
Crocs.
I don't think he's super close to returning.
Some Croc cleats.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
Yeah, I had a beat writer tell me today, well, when he puts cleats on, his feet still hurt, so I don't think he's that close. I'm like, okay, thank you. Like,
Yeah, that's a solid one.
yeah, he has like a heel problem or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But
Well,
I mean, look,
I thought he broke his big toe. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's what it is. So it's a toe. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, this lineup, and look, I'm about to say maybe one of the stupidest things I've said on the show, and I say a lot of dumb things. But I mean, like, they start with Talkman, Rojas, and Drury against righties. It doesn't look as bad as it's looked. Now, it's still not good by any means. I mean,
Talkman got brought back today, so
bottom 2 or 3 offense in the league still. But I mean, those guys are professional hitters. Like, that's how you don't have Jacob Maya and Nick Maton hitting cleanup, like, or fifth, like, against right-handed pitching. And I know he's got a couple of bombs, but like, I will forget Jake Maton. Jesus, I will forget Nick Maton on the Sporkle quiz at the end of the year. I guarantee you, like, he's going to be one of the names that I miss.
I don't know. He might, He might stick around.
I don't know how.
You never know.
Yeah.
There are plenty of names to forget from this year, just like there was last year. If you did the Sporkle quiz from last season,
It's usually like a
holy
random
crap.
reliever that they claim off waivers that throws in like 2 games and then they're gone and then you just like always forget.
I mean, no matter like I did that quiz a couple of times. Nick Senzel,
Yeah.
like, ugh.
Doug, what did I say passive aggressive? I'm usually more aggressive. I try to be nice to some of these kids. Like their parents follow us.
Herb Lawrence just demanded that Mydroth be flown to Cleveland now.
Oh, I wonder if they'll listen to him.
Possibly. He worked on 670 the score before, so he's got some pull.
I mean,
you
I
know?
don't disagree with him.
I don't either.
What are we doing? Like, there's no reason not to. But yeah, I don't know what their plan is for that. I don't think it's like a 7th year service time thing, though. I really don't. I think there was like something they didn't like the way he looked in spring, regardless of the AAA numbers before. They wanted him to prove it. I think he's proven it. So, like, what are we doing?
Yep, I agree. So I guess in conclusion to how do the White Sox fix the bullpen? I think that it's just the season's been going on for a few days, and it's 40 degrees outside.
Mm-hmm.
You let a couple of guys burn us a couple of times, and it is what it is. Let them, flesh
Mm-hmm.
themselves out here, and then make your decisions and start
Like how
cutting
much
guys. And
right, like how much churn do you think we see and how soon? I guess is the question, right? Because you're gonna have Gilbert up. My guess is they don't have much patience for Jordan Leisure at this point. Like,
yeah,
would you bring up Dunn and throw him in the bullpen? Like, I mean, you're gonna see
Dunn
everybody. This is
needs
like an
to,
all hands on deck situation, in
yeah.
my opinion.
Dunn has been really he's been putting up some strikeout numbers. He pitched against the Tides twice this week and struck out 17 guys. So the one issue is that today he gave up a bunch of runs early. But he's showing the ability to be able to get guys out and has some nasty pitches here. I think that it's I'm looking at roughly around 2 weeks here. If we don't see some of these guys start sorting themselves out in the next couple of weeks, uh, you're gonna
Yeah.
start seeing some guys get
Well, and Steve Stone
flown
mentioned it
out.
on the broadcast today, where it's like Venable has to like see who he can trust, right? It's like, well, not that guy, not that guy, and not that guy. So, it's just kind of tough.
Yeah. I don't think that there's any magic answers here. I think it's just kind of one of those things that you have to let it play out a little bit more until you decide who you're gonna ship out of town. Because some of these guys don't have options and some do. So we'll see what happens. You good? Alrighty, sir. I'm gonna walk us out. You have been watching / listening to the Future Sox podcast. If you are listening to this in podcast form, know that you can find us every Sunday night at 8 p.m. on YouTube and the Purple app. You can also find this podcast along with all of our written content at FutureSox.net. I've been informed by Elijah that tomorrow Future Sox Roundup will make their first live show at 7 o'clock on YouTube and Purple app. So keep a lookout for that. Link will be on our Twitter. If you are looking for White Sox prospect highlights, you can find them on X at Future Sox and now also here on our YouTube channel. If you love the content and want to support us here at Future Sox, there is a link to our Patreon in our channel description and at FutureSox.net. You can also toss up a super chat on our YouTube stream. Also, don't forget to like this stream and subscribe with notifications so you know when we're going live while helping us in the World Wide Web algorithms. My name is Ian Eskridge at Daily White Sox. He is James Fox at JamesFox917. We appreciate all of you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for commenting in the chat and hanging out. You guys drive this thing. We appreciate you. You have a great week. We will see you guys next week. Have a good one.